All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. Well, Oscar is not here. He's enjoying himself somewhere in the islands. So, Oscar, if you're watching this, I envy you, man, and enjoy your oxtail. We're going to have a great interview today here on Focus on You. We have an amazing guest. His name is Frank Coppola, and some of you don't know him, but you should take the time to. After this interview, you're going to want to reach out to him and find out more about what he does and who he is. So we're going to jump right into that right after this message. Thursday, October 26th, on the Bishop's Corner at 8 p.m., you're going to hear us discuss the subject of grace in communication. Have you ever just misunderstood your friend, your spouse, your enemy, and you just don't understand why you don't get along? Listen in to this program and learn more about finding grace in communication. Hope to see you there. Yep, that is tonight on the Bishop's Corner. You really don't want to miss that. It's going to be an amazing program. We have a few guests coming on. We're going to have a discussion on grace in communication. You know, how many times do you just misunderstand what the other person is saying? And how do we get beyond that point? Okay, so stay tuned for that tonight at 8 p.m. If you want to see more information, you can go to the Bishop's Corner Theater on Facebook, or you can visit our website, PNN Station Plus, and find out more information on that. All right. So, see you tonight on the discussion Grace in Communication. Now, we're going to have our featured person, who is none other than Frank Coppola. Hey, Frank.
How
Come
are
on.
you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Frank.
Thank you.
So,
It's been
listen.
such a long time. When did I see you last? I mean, like yesterday?
Yes, yesterday was it. So
First of all,
Frank,
thank you for inviting me to this. This is really wonderful,
oh, it's awesome, man. Thank you for making the time to come on.
without a doubt.
So I want you to tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, uh, my name is Frank Coppola. What I do currently is a couple of different things. I'm a board certified attention deficit hyperactivity coach and mentor. And I work with people who have a negative opinion about themselves, and I help them go beyond wherever they think they can't. And I do that through a series of exercises that people can go through, and very quickly they're able to isolate what's important to them, which is key for attention deficit disorder. I also have a business because I'm a consultant to businesses. It's called the Fearless Entrepreneur, and we deal with things like courage, faith, of course, balancing budgets and things like that, but really looking at it from a universal law perspective. And they actually interact with one another because I found 60% of entrepreneurs have the signs, symptoms, behaviors as somebody who has attention deficit disorder. And there is some very good reasons for that, and there's some very good advantages for that. Prior to this, I have a very wide background. I I have attention deficit disorder. I'll give you a very quick overview. I looked at myself, and about 4 or 5 years old, I started to work in my father's restaurant. He had an Italian restaurant, and immediately got involved in communication, working with people, as well as production. We had to get things out on time. That eventually led to somewhere 19 or so, I started to really get involved in music. And I became a studio musician doing playing electric bass and primarily doing a lot of singing. I also had the privilege of writing music for people like Whitney Houston, Temptations, uh, Janie Fricke, and that's fantastic. I also am a singer songwriter, and I use my music in my coaching to really impact the learning of whatever it is we're doing. I have a song called Ask, if I could just say this. One of
Hmm.
my clients wasn't able to get on the phone and ask for the money from the client who owed them $30,000. And they were willing to pay, but she never asked for the money. And she was in the midst of going bankrupt, but she was embarrassed to ask. So I happened to coach her about sales, still had a problem. I have a song called Ask. It's spiritual, but it is very effective. I said, listen to this song 3 times, and then we'll get on the phone with your client. I just want to hear what you're saying to them. She did. From there, we coached again. I said, now you're on your own, go do it. Within 2 weeks, she got the $30,000 back, and she did not go bankrupt. And I said, how did you do that? She said, that song was like running in my head. Ask. And I realized there wasn't anything wrong with asking. It was just my negative talk that was just running me around. Um, I became an interfaith minister along the way, wrote a whole bunch of things for what I call Motown Meets God. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I also was very interested in communication, and I was lucky enough to get involved in television commercials. I had my own company, and at that time we put more cars in space, and great fun. It was a perfect place for me to be with attention deficit disorder because every commercial was totally different than the one before. Very interesting. Um, Eventually, that led to consulting for business, and along the way, I decided let me coach because I got a very large background because I believe in continuing education. So I learned how to coach. And I learned things like what does it mean to trust? What does it mean to have gratitude? What does it mean to really commit yourself to something? And along the way, I found when I started to take medication, what I found is the key element for anybody who has attention deficit, as well for anybody who's in business, is what do you love to do? What's your strength? What are those things that you do that are so unconscious for you, but it's moving you down the road? I help people find that, and when they do that, invariably their whole mood about what it is to be attention to have attention deficit shifts. And it's not unusual for businesses to start doubling their income. Not me. I just gave them a direction and I help coach them. So that's a little bit of what I do. As I said, I have attention deficit disorder, so I've been in a lot of different areas and a lot of different businesses.
You
I
know,
also became I'm sorry. I also became a psychotherapist um, because I love people.
when people hear the term ADD, it has a negative connotation to it.
Hmm.
How have you learned to make it an asset rather than something negative?
Well, I'll just speak for myself. Someone graciously said, you ought to read a book called Driven to Distraction by, uh, and in that book, it will talk about attention deficit disorder, but it takes it from a medical perspective. So, in the first 2 or 3 pages, they take case studies. One case study was someone, parents said to the person, um, we don't understand. You're so smart. How come you can't do X, Y, and Z? Because you're failing in school, but you have a very high IQ. It's crazy. So that was me. So I continue to read through the book, and along the way, it said people with attention deficit can stay focused, they're energetic, they're personable, they're inspiring. I said, wait a minute, that's the part that I'm good at as well. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put my attention there. And the negative aspects of it, I'm going to learn how to push that to the side. So my approach, again, when someone is doing something they love to do, and you can look at this from yourself, what happens is the signs, symptoms, behaviors, undermining self sabotage literally disappear when you're actually doing what you love to do. And you see this all the time. Major business people, we're talking Richard Branson, we're
Hmm.
talking um, major guys. And what are they doing? They're actively engaged, working on what they love to do. And they say, you know, if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I'd be doing. Because it's so easy. And the whole idea is to find that. Most of the time, it happens before the age of 7. So part of all this is just working through all this. Can I give you an example?
Absolutely.
Okay, I had a client who was an accountant, very successful accounting firm in New York City, and he had 2 partners, and he was relegated to basically do accounting individually. And truthfully, after so many years, he hated it. So he says, I want to leave accounting. I said, really? Give me an idea of what you loved to do when you were a kid. Well, I don't know. Well, what did you do hobby wise? You know what? I collected stamps. Really? Collected stamps? Why? He says, you know, each stamp had their own focus. For example, the Egyptian had the pyramids, and I was fascinated with the pyramids. I started to really look at that. So I said, could it be that the stamps, you were like an archaeologist, going around, looking around for what the problems were? He said, yeah. I said, now take that, and how do you apply it to accounting? He sat and thought, forensic accounting. I said, yeah. What does forensic accounting do? I go into the taxes and I find out what or where people are paying or not paying. I said, based upon that, is there, you have that in your accounting firm? No. Meanwhile, even though he was a partner, he felt he was going to get fired. Every day he felt he was going to get fired.
Wow.
Yeah, can you believe that? And he helped start the business. So here he is doing something he doesn't love to do, and he feels like he's going to get fired. I said, why don't you go to your partners and say, hey guys, there's this thing called forensic accounting. At that time, it wasn't really deeply looked into. I'd like
Hmm.
to really look at that, start a business, have three or four people work for me, and then when they do that, I'll look into this. The business jumped 15%, and the guy was happy like crazy, doing what he loved to do. Meaning, he was an archaeologist. He used to tell people, I'm an accounting archaeologist. And they would say, excuse me? And he would say, I help people make money and I help people find where the money is going. And it's got to be legal because if it's not, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Huge, huge for him. And for me, you know, I didn't do anything. I kind of pointed him. And to have him walk away feeling so empowered made me feel good. Made me feel good.
And that's a
That's a
great thing
great thing
about you,
about you,
Frank.
Frank.
You
You
have
have
a
a
way
way
and the
and the
experience
experience
of
of
guiding
guiding
people
people
through the
through the
process of
process of
business
business
and
and
life.
life.
It's a
It's a
balance
balance
of
of
life
life
principles
principles
and
and
business
business
principles,
principles.
and I've
And I
found that they
found that they
sometimes
sometimes
match each
match each
other.
other. Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. Because from my background, Freud said you need two things to be successful: to be in relationship with someone that you love, whether it's your dog or whether it's a person. And the other thing is to do something you love to do at your work. Those two. Many people have issues with, relationships, and we have a friend named Whitney Coburn. She's involved in that kind of world. The other people spend most of their time feeling like they got to catch up. They're missing out. And I
Mhm.
tell them all the time, guess what? The money is always there. You just can't see it.
Mhm.
And let's figure out how you're going to see where the money is. Another example: I live in New York City, 85th and West End Avenue. Uh, Directly east, huge, huge street called Broadway.
Mhm.
I'm on 85th and West End Avenue. If I look up to 86th and Broadway, it's not there. I can't see it. But is it not there? Of course it's there. So we live in an abundant world. The hard part is when you hit the wall to remember it. That's difficult. And I'm always learning. Here's a great book called The Abundance Book.
Mhm.
40 days of exercises. And I have it's right in front of me. How to strengthen your faith. I have a workshop called the Focus Game. If you don't know the rules, you can't play the game. I don't know anything about soccer. That's where it came out.
Right.
So I basically laid out, here's what you can do, and go do it. Have some fun doing it. Bring people in that you like working with or just playing with. Go play. I tell that to all the people I work with. Go play. Yeah, but I'm not making bit. Go play.
Mhm.
Don't worry about it. The money's there. Boom, it shows up.
It's it's
It's
a
it's a
it's
it's
when you
when you
transfer that
transfer that
nervous
nervous
energy
energy
into
into
fun.
fun.
I believe
I believe
fun is
fun is
attractive.
attractive. Mm-hmm.
I don't
I
know
don't know
anybody
anybody
doesn't like
doesn't
to have
like to
fun.
have fun. Yeah, yeah.
You know.
You know, they most people the energy of fun again, doing what you love to do is
Hmm.
so appealing. People want to be around it. If
Right.
you if you've had a very tough time and you start talking about that, people will say, "Well, good luck." Unless it's family,
Hmm.
let's see if we can shift this. I have some people, one person in particular, Dr. Jamie Canton, and he would always say to me, um, action um, relieves depression because ADD people fall into this depression world.
Mm.
So I always have to pay attention to that. Where do I have my focus? Well, I have my focus on what's not working. Okay, how do I shift this? Who do I know that can help me? Because you can't do this by yourself. So I'll call Jamie and I say, such and such and such and such. Well, what are you doing? Such and such and such and such. Stop it. But you don't. No, no, no. Stop it. Go get an ice cream. Take Diane. Do something completely different.
Hmm.
Stop it.
You,
Because
you
people
you you
don't.
wouldn't know how much that fixes your focus, because
Well, how does that?
sometimes you're zoned in on the wrong aspect of a problem or a
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, because it's about fear. It's about. That's why I created the Fearless Entrepreneur.
Hmm.
You know, I emphasize courage. What's courage? Courage is walking into something very dangerous because and you're afraid of it, but you move forward. That's courage. So think about that. And we start to think about, well, where are you? I don't think I can do this by myself. Great. Who do you know who can help you? I'm on your back. I got your back. Who else? Who do you know? Well, I knew the guy. You know, this guy was 10 years old. Have you spoken to him?
Hmm.
No, I can't call him. Why not? Call him. So, for me, it's about interpersonal relationships. It's about communication. It's about being able to educate people as well as entertain them. My parent company, the one I have, it's called Edutainment. Education, entertainment. I went to a conference for in Salt Lake City with Robert Redford. The person that I met at that time was the head of Columbia Pictures. And we were having a conversation, and he had several movies that were great. I mean, I can't think of them right now. I had a concussion, but I can't think of them right now. I
Hmm.
said, how do you choose your scripts? Very simple. They got to entertain, they got to educate. I said, oh. And if you really look at the films that you really enjoy, that's part of it, including Dracula. Great
Really?
movie. Oh, sure. Entertaining and education don't go around bats. I'm sorry. By the way, I have very bad jokes, and I could tell you a whole bunch of them. But think about it. In my opinion, those are the things that are important.
Let's talk a little bit about your website, because
Okay.
I was looking at it and it has some very interesting things on there. The first thing you see is this. Talk about that. What's this quote?
Well, I have courses and I have webinars. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching,
Hmm.
and my job is to educate you. That's the key. Most of the people that have difficulty don't realize it's a matter of being educated. It's a matter of learning how to do certain things. If nobody taught you how to organize, how are you going to organize? I'm going to tough it out. No, it doesn't work that way. So the whole focus here is to bring a course. Like the other day, we did a course on the three essentials in business. Excuse me. First one is truth. Second one is focus, and the third one is gratitude. Most coaches will not. Most money coaches don't even touch that. But you think about it. You don't have trust with customers, they're gone. So I teach people how to trust. I learned that from somebody very
What's
so
the
good.
biggest aspect of that?
The biggest aspect,
Hmm.
learning how to trust, because trust is about promises. And promises, if you keep your promises over time, people begin to trust you. You say, listen, I'm going to get this document out to you, or I'm going to meet you for a movie. You do that, people begin to trust you. If you make an appointment, you don't show up one time, two times, three times, people like to say, you know what? I don't want to be bothered with this guy. I'm wasting my time. The issue for me is, if you really think about it, people are constantly promising themselves to do something. You know what? I'm going to sit down and do my taxes. I'm going to sit on such and such a day. I'm going to sit down, organize my desk, such and such a day, such a time. If you don't, if you don't make that, if you don't keep the promise to yourself, you begin to not trust yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, you get sick. So there's a whole thing about how do you get to have people uh, trust you when you've been really distrustful.
Hmm.
And there is a way to do that. You have to do it in such a way and say to people, listen, I did this. I'm sorry. Uh, I'm going to do my best not to do it again. If you're kind enough, would you remind me if I do it?
Hmm.
And I'll do my best to never lie to you. It takes about a year before people say, you know what? Trust the guy. I used to lie all the time. I'm Italian, and I've learned Italians never lie. They just don't tell you the whole thing because they don't want to make you feel bad, right?
Right. Right.
So I got in so much trouble lying. I used to say I didn't lie. Yes, I did. I got in so much trouble doing that that I determined I'm never going to do this again. And today, people know if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Because it cost me thousands of dollars not doing the right thing. Because people lost trust in me.
You know, I was listening to something that Bruce Lee said, and it was about following through. He said, so it was about a punch. He said, if you're going to hit something, make sure that you follow through. And that stuck with me because that's life. You
Mm.
know, when you make a decision, look beyond your goal, not just at your goal.
Uh huh.
You know, how do you help CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners get that mindset in?
Okay, so first of all, the client has to be willing to learn. Very important. Um, the client also has to look at their past and really begin to say, you know what? I got to get this fixed. And then there is a question of determining how do you do this. And this is about making decisions. So if you say you're going to do something, you have to know what it is you're going to do. Most of the time, people start at the end. I want this, but they don't start at the beginning. Meaning, what is it that they want to get there? And so, what do I want? What do I need to get it done? Who do I need who can help me? Or can I do it by myself? And then set up a time to actually do it. there's a whole process called motivation. There's a whole
Hmm.
process called procrastination. Many people, especially uh, CEOs, very little of them procrastinate. But the ones who procrastinate, they find out they lost their mojo. They lost their motivation to do things. Motivation cancels procrastination, cancels that out.
Gotcha.
So there's a process to do to get to the point. If I do such and such, I'm motivated. If you don't hit these four pillars, you wind up getting in trouble. Again, this is about education. I have, I'm so lucky. I really studied with some big time guys.
Yes, you
They,
did.
and they really beat me up. And I was like, what do you got, you boy? They would say, hey, cut it out. Yeah, but no, 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 no. You either learn or you get out. I had uh, a guy named David Nagel, a brilliant guy. And I would talk about my music very little. I wind up going to have an all day meeting with him. It was like $10,000. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying it was expensive.
Right, right,
So
right.
I said, so the Chinese always bring something. I'm gonna bring him a lasagna. It was like, so I made this huge lasagna.
Hmm.
I flew down. They picked me up, and I got to the door. I said, "Hey, David, how you doing?" He said, "Fine." I said, "This is for you." He says, "What's this?" Lasagna. Oh my God! Right? So he calls me up and he says, "Stephanie and I are in bed eating lasagna." Along the way, he discovered I had all this music because I gave him a CD.
Hmm.
When everything was said and done, he said, "Frank, why aren't you doing your music?" Well, you see, such. He said, "Do your music."
Hmm.
I said, "Okay." So the next time we had a meeting, I got up and asked him some question about something. He said, go home and do you? Did you go home and play your music?" Well, but he said, "Look, you go home, play your music. I'm not going to coach you, and I'm going to charge you for the coaching." And it was very expensive. So I wind up going home, and I remember thinking about, well, the guy said to play music. If I don't do this, I'm in trouble. I found the cassette, and it was the first time I actually heard myself sing. First time. And I had the temptation say to me, "Hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you singing?" And I was like, so it was the first time I heard. I said, "Oh, that's what everybody's talking about." And at that point, I flipped it and said, "How do I use the thing I'm love to do and bring it into my coaching? How do I do that so I can be the model for people?" So that they said, "Well, Frank did it. Maybe I could do it." So he gave me a tremendous gift, a
Hmm.
tremendous gift, and I share it. I sent you a bunch of stuff. I recently, well, it's 2 years now. I recently got um, I was paid money to write a song. It was actually a donation for them. I didn't take the money to write a song for 9/11.
Yes.
And yeah, and I wrote it. It's called "We Rise Again." I had a friend of mine come in and do a video with it,
Hmm.
and there's always two responses. Wow, that was great. And the other one is, I had to stop it because I was crying. My music touches people, and I had somebody tell me that. And I said, you know what? I have a gift from God. I have a gift from God. I can communicate. I can also communicate in my music. So it's
So wait,
important
so
that I
wait.
do both. What?
You know what? Uh, at this point, because I wanted to play that video.
Oh, really?
Yes, so that people could hear the song that you wrote
Okay.
and how beautiful it really is. And then
Okay.
you can, when we come back, you can talk about how they can reach you and improve their business.
Do you have the video? Do you have that?
Yes, I do. I do.
That'd be great. I love that. That's good.
Here we go.
All right. There's no music, Philip.
What's that?
You're missing the music. You have to start from the beginning and figure out why the music isn't playing.
I'm sorry, Frank, say it again.
There's no music. So you have to start again and figure out why there's no music. It's not coming through the screen.
You should be able to hear it. All right.
Do you want me to send you another link?
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not sure why you're not hearing it, but we'll do that again
Are
another
you are
time.
you hearing it? I'd love to do
I'm
this.
hearing
It'd
it.
be
I'm
great.
hearing it.
Well, let's try it
Yes.
again because I think it's very important.
Okay. All right. I'll play it because I can hear it.
Okay,
All right. Here we go.
let's see why other people can't. No good.
You know what, Frank? We're gonna have to do that next time.
Philip, I'm going to send you a link. Let's just try it. Okay? I'm going to send
You
one
know
to
what,
you
Frank?
right
We're gonna
now.
have to do that next time.
Philip, I'm going to send you a link. Let's just.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Because we're
Oh,
running out
man.
of time. I just want to share what how people can reach you,
Sure.
and
Okay.
yeah.
Let's do that. Um, the best way to reach me is send me an email to frank at addcoachinggroup.com. Two G's. addcoachinggroup.com. Uh, you can also send to me your email, and I will invite you to November 8th. I'm doing a master class on overcoming procrastination using artificial intelligence for people in business, as well as what actions you could be taking next. My telephone number is 646 295 5625. And if you go and open up the email, you'll see a place where you can sign up, and then you'll get the link, and it would be great. And you can also have a one-on-one discovery session with me. I'll spend 20 minutes with you, maybe longer, and just help you get clear on what you're doing, help you set up a plan, and move you to the next level, whatever that next level is, whether it's in your personal life or your business. And it would be my pleasure. It would be great. I mean, really would be great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you.
Really, this was a great interview. You are an amazing person.
So are you.
And I'm grateful to God that we met 5 years ago,
Yes.
and we hope I have another 100 years to go.
You got it.
Maybe not 100.
No, that's okay. We could, yeah, whatever. Hey,
All
Philip,
right, guys.
what I will do is
For watching,
I'll send
oh,
you
go
the
ahead.
link. I'll send you the link so you have it. Okay?
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
My
All right,
pleasure.
thank you everyone for watching. This is Frank Coppola and Phil with Focus on You. Take care.
Bye bye.